Hello there and welcome to bnetTV.com. I'm Michelle Sklar. We're here at the Mobile Marketing Association's Forum in Los Angeles, and I'm joined by Jorge Partidas of LatCel. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.
Now, of course, we were talking earlier about your company, and I'm fascinated, but let's start from the beginning so our viewers don't miss out on some of the exciting things that we were talking about. What is LatCel?
So LatCel, we call ourselves a content management service provider for Hispanic customers. So what we do is that we create strategies for carriers in order to develop an efficient and effective content offer for the Hispanic base. So, I mean, carriers for the past 3-4 years have been based basically on the general market. Now they're seeing that Hispanics are over-indexed in their numbers. I mean, 13% of the population is Hispanic, but over 15% of their customer base is Hispanic.
Right.
So you know, it's public knowledge. Hispanics, consume more services. They use more data services. They download more ringtones. So they use the mobile phone, and also because a lot of them are related to their families that are in Latin America, so they need to call and
Right.
It's a personal thing.
Right.
So what we do there is that so we come in and we say, okay, how can we create a really appealing content offer for them? And actually, when we came to the States 3 years ago, because we're the largest aggregator in Latin America, we got 18 offices in the region, over 45 carrier relationship there. So we said, how can we bring all this content and make an appealing offer to the market? And our parent company is the Cisneros Group, which is the biggest media conglomerate for in media, Hispanic media. And we say let's see if we can launch an MVNO that would make sense for the Hispanic market. So within the Cisneros and being pushed as well by us, Movida was created. Now Movida is an independent company, but we run all of their services in terms of content.
Right.
And we have been able to get some numbers that you don't see in the market.
Right.
Over 13% of the ARPU we're delivering in terms of content, and it's and it's more of that consultant basis of seeing on a weekly basis what are the customers really driving, what's the demand for content, what is it, music, is it services, is it
We were talking
content?
a little bit earlier as far as content is concerned, and that I was mentioning that it seems as though that there's been a real paradigm shift, if you will, in terms of the type of content that is appealing and available to people. It is possible for me to make my own, mini TV show or whatever the case may be and post it and deliver it to millions of people on MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I'm saying that that's something that I'm necessarily going to run out and do, but the ability to produce content today is different from 20 years ago, where the mediums of delivery and the mediums of production were very costly and much fewer, and the distribution networks were very tightly controlled. And that's really changed today. So when you talk about aggregating content, where are you getting this content from?
Okay, so it's a good point, because mobile, it's a mix of both worlds. Because for once, you're very limited on the offer that you can deliver, because it's, if you go into a website, you just have 10 categories there to see what you really want. Mm-hmm. And if you're not very efficient in really defining what your customer base wants, then you're losing space there. And see it as a retail store. It's there, and their first impression is what really going to make the drive and the sell.
Right.
So it's key to have really what's appealing for the market. Then, I mean, there's so much content out there that when the carriers do their first offer, what they think of is, okay, let me think of the big brands. I'll bring the big brands because this is what's really out there, but not necessarily what's really hot for the people and want to consume people. So that's the first phase. So what we do there, okay, we'll get and we aggregate all these big brands in the Hispanic and Latin American world, and that's a relevant offer. But then we're seeing, for instance, let's make an example. We're seeing that the people are starting to demand for a certain genre of music, and we'll bring the big brands for that, and let's say we'll bring Universal in terms of a record label. But then we see that they're demanding more for a specific, type of music, then we'll go out there and see some independent players that make a lot of sense.
And are you able to gauge what the users want from what's popular over the internet? Because that's really what kind of blew the doors wide open, if you will, as far as the type of content that is being created and how it's being distributed and who's getting access to what. And some person who's playing in their garage all of a sudden is getting 1.5 million hits on MySpace or YouTube or whatever the case may be. So how are you even going about figuring out where to find that content?
It's a trial and error thing. I mean, what we do is in our company we have a whole content management team, and we're seeing on a weekly basis what's really working, where the demand is coming. We're of course seeing what's out there. I mean, if we're seeing in MySpace, a certain application or a certain artist just took off, we'll immediately try and engage that and bring it, because this will have an immediate impact. I mean, guys, people are buying this a second it is up there. So and it's even broader, because now when this is when you have mobile, and this is a case that we're working with a company like Idioma, so we were able right now to create an application for English Spanish speaking population and a translation application. So we delivered this in one of our clients, and we saw 11% download of the service, of a whole customer base. And what we see usually when carrier offers an application, it's 1%, less than 1% penetration. But when it's relevant and it really means something to that niche market.
Now, one of the things, of course, that you'd also mentioned earlier is that being able to find content on the internet is a little bit easier than being able to find content on a mobile phone. It's tougher to get your content distributed over a mobile device, because there's carrier issues, there's so many different types of handsets, so there's compatibility issues, all those types of things. Do you think that is going to remain or even possibly just be a barrier, or do you think that the ability to have the type of opportunities to access content and people to produce and deliver content is going to be as available on a mobile device as it is over the internet? And how are you going to address that if that's the case?
I think that it's not going to be as big as the internet in terms of public access. I mean, off portal will take off, definitely, but still on portal is a big thing. So distribution in this case, content is king, distribution is king. I mean, sometimes we don't know what's more important. We work a lot in the distribution part, and what we do is we partner with content providers, relevant content providers, and we take them and help them distribute their content. But when I mean this distribution is key is because, I mean, if you're not able to get your content there, it's not going to happen. I mean, the internet is a different story. I mean, everyone's able to put their content there, and somehow you'll get there, But most of the clients on the carriers, they access their content on their deck and on the carrier side. We're seeing how handset manufacturers are moving into that space as well. How Nokia, wants to be a player, and how Apple, they're putting the applications there so that people access the content immediately, and they're able to control distribution.
Jorge, my last question for you is: here you are at the Mobile Marketing Forum. What is the message that you want to be able to deliver to the marketers and carriers that are in the room today?
I mean, it's in our specific market, we're seeing that Hispanics are really taking off. The numbers of the demand for Hispanic services, for content, is over-indexed. Definitely is a market that needs to be addressed in a more formal way. We're happy to start seeing how carriers are excited about how to do this, and we want to be part of that. We want to lead that revolution.
Fantastic, Jorge. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've been speaking with Jorge Partidas of LatCel, and we're here at the MMA Forum in LA, and I'm Michelle Sklar with bnetTV.com.